You know how sometimes you're just too close to a problem to really see the solution? Well, what if the answer was to get some distance? Like a lot of distance. Say a quarter of a million miles. In this explainer, we're taking a page from Neil deGrasse Tyson's book, Starry to get a truly cosmic perspective on our world. Let's do this. We're going to start with this quote from Apollo astronaut Edgar Mitchell, because it hits you, right? It perfectly captures that raw, almost angry feeling that comes when you see Earth from space. It's this sudden, overwhelming frustration with all our petty conflicts down here. And that's really the core tension of our whole story, our earthly squabbles versus the incredible clarity you get from a cosmic view. Okay, so before we can blast off, we have to get our bearings. We need to understand where we're starting from. So our journey begins right here, on the ground, on a planet that's, well, pretty deeply divided by all of our different takes on reality. And look, this division isn't some new, modern problem. It's wired deep into our evolutionary past. I mean, we are literally built to form tribes. And while that groupthink was super helpful for our ancestors trying to survive, in today's world, it's often the very thing that sparks our worst conflicts. To really get a handle on our divisions, we got to break down the different kinds of truth we all operate with. So on one side, you've got your objective truths. This is the stuff of science, right? It's true whether you believe in it or not. The Earth is round. Gravity exists. These things are settled by evidence. But then you have personal truths. These are rooted in your beliefs, your culture, your identity. Is Beyoncé your queen? Are you Team Kirk or Team Picard? These are the building blocks of our opinions, and they're part of what makes us who we are. The real trouble starts when we try to pass off our personal truths as if they're objective facts for everyone else. All right, so with that picture of our earthly divisions in mind, it's time to begin our ascent. And as we leave the surface, we're not just gaining altitude. We're gaining a whole new way of seeing. We're getting just enough distance to start shedding those narrow, ground-level interpretations of life. You know, it's kind of wild to think about just how close most astronauts really are. Low Earth orbit, where you'll find the International Space Station, that's basically like hovering just 1 centimeter above one of those old globes from your classroom. It's really not that far at all. And yet, even that tiny little bit of distance is enough to change everything. And that change, it has a name. It's called the overview effect. It's this powerful cognitive shift that astronauts talk about. Suddenly, you don't see Earth as a patchwork of countries fighting with each other. You just see a single, beautiful, living system. You see heaven. All those lines we draw on maps, the borders, the rivalries, they just disappear. So that begs a huge question, right? If seeing our home from just 1 centimeter above a globe is that powerful, what happens when we pull back even further? What happens when we travel far enough away to see our entire planet just hanging there in the dark? What happens when we, as a species, truly discover Earth for the very first time? Well, this is what happens. Back in December of 1968, the Apollo 8 crew flew to the moon, they looked back, and they snapped this picture, Earthrise. For the first time in history, humanity saw our home not as the solid ground under our feet, but as this tiny, delicate blue marble. It was a single, fragile ecosystem, totally alone in the infinite blackness of space. And believe me, that single image had a massive, real-world effect. Look at what happened in the years right after. A huge wave of environmental action swept the nation and the world. The very first Earth Day, the creation of the EPA, the Clean Water Act, the Endangered Species Act. This was no coincidence. You can draw a direct line from that new cosmic consciousness to a desire to protect our home. Okay, so, armed with this brand new cosmic lens, let's turn our gaze back on ourselves and try to wrap our heads around the almost unbelievable pace of our own progress. You see, the key to understanding modern life is this one concept, exponential growth. Our brains, they're just not built for it. We're wired for linear thinking. One step, then the next step. But progress in science and technology, it doesn't work like that. Every single discovery becomes a launching pad for 1,000 new ones. It doesn't just add up, it multiplies. Let me make this crystal clear. Imagine I offered you a choice. You can have $5 million right now, cash. Or you can have a single penny that doubles in value every day for 1 month. Now, most people are going to grab the $5 million bucks. But that penny? By day 31, it's worth over $21 million. That mind-bending jump is the power of exponential growth. And it's exactly what's happening with human knowledge. I mean, when you look at our civilization in these quick 30-year snapshots, the pace is just staggering. Between 1870 and 1900, the world goes from stagecoaches to the first cars. Between 1900 and 1930, we go from horse-drawn buggies to airplanes and electric cities. Jump to 1960 to 1990, we go from never having left the planet to walking on the moon and putting a computer in our homes. And from 1990 till recently, we went from no internet to having a smartphone in basically every pocket. In each of these windows, life becomes completely unrecognizable to the generation that came before. So here's the real kicker. We all feel like we live in some uniquely fast-paced revolutionary era, right? But that feeling, it isn't unique to us at all. It's a basic feature of living anywhere on this wild curve of exponential growth. Every single generation feels this way because for them, the change is completely unprecedented. So where does all of this leave us? I mean, what's the point of this cosmic perspective? Well, it's not just some cool thought experiment. It's a way of thinking that shows us a deeper kind of beauty, and maybe most importantly, a profound sense of responsibility. When we look out into the universe, we find a kind of objective beauty. This isn't a painting that's cool one decade and dated the next. This is the nebula PSR B1509-58. It's what's left over after a star exploded. And what did we nickname it? The Hand of God. Its beauty is an objective truth of the cosmos, one that speaks to us no matter our culture or our time. And it's funny, we do this all the time. When we find these spectacular objects out in space, we name them after things that are familiar to us, things from right here on Earth. The cat's eye, the crab, the horsehead, even the Pac-Man nebula. It's this wonderful, deeply human instinct to see ourselves reflected in the sheer grandeur of the universe. But this perspective does more than just inspire awe. It forces us to be accountable. Seeing how tiny our world is in this vast cosmos, it doesn't make us insignificant. It does the exact opposite. It proves that there's no one else coming to save us from ourselves. It puts all the responsibility for our problems, our progress, and our very survival squarely on our own shoulders. Like Shakespeare said, the fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves. And that leads us to this final thought. Maybe the most beautiful, most amazing truth of all is that the universe is knowable. We can actually understand it. From the smallest atom to the biggest nebula, we can figure out the rules. And that's not just a cool privilege, it's a profound responsibility. So the final question, really, is for all of us. What are we going to do with that knowledge?